Over the next few minutes, you're going to hear how to work out if it's reasonable to be naked in front of your kids. And welcome back to Sitting in a Car. I'm Sarah Sproul and I sit in a car each week answering a question to help you raise your confident and caring young person who respects themselves and the people around them. And I'm going to read the whole question to you before we get into the details. Hi Sarah, should I take a shower naked in front of my kids? And until what age should my husband be naked? I come from a conservative country and now I live in Sweden. It's a big contrast for me. I need to reparent myself there, but the question that is what is best for my kids? Thanks a lot for your help. And what I love about this question is that it can be applicable for any of us, no matter where we live, if we've been raised in a culture or in a family where nakedness was shameful or discouraged. And the answer to the question this week comes from the kindness pillar inside the full evolved family method. And you know by now that the evolved family method is the complete method that supports families to have conversations about every sort of sensitive topic in a way that builds deeper connection with growing kids. Now, the kindness pillar is focused very much on who we are as parents, and the foundations of connections that we can build with our kids start with how we treat ourselves. So when we're thinking about the nakedness question, we need to start with what we've been taught from our past about our body and about whether it's right or not to show it. So what you may naturally do when you have this question is actually question what feels right for you. You might notice how other people around you feel more confident with their naked body, more comfortable with their naked body, confident, comfortable. That might be in direct contrast to how you feel. You may remember learning how to feel about your body from the way your parents treated their own naked body or your naked body at home when you were growing up. So you're probably also wanting to give your kids more comfort and ease than what you had growing up. And you might also feel, or notice you might feel, quite a lot of pressure to get this part of your parenting around nakedness, to get that right. And at the same time, you don't want to expose your kids to too much nakedness or not the right sort of nakedness. And you might even find yourself Googling the question, should I be naked around my kids? And all those behaviors, all those actions that you might be taking make absolute sense. I completely get why you might be doing that, because many of us weren't brought up with a feeling of comfort around nakedness, a natural feeling around bodies. So I've learned that when parents and other caring adults who are raising kids do what feels right around nakedness based on their past experience, how it was for them growing up, it's a sign that there's what I call a silent connection breaker that's influencing the parenting dynamic. Now, you're not consciously doing this silent connection breaker. It's a pattern from the past, and it's lodged firmly between you and your kids and the freedom and ease that you wish for them. And you may not have found that freedom and ease when you were growing up. So this silent connection breaker probably causes you to feel worried about passing shame on to your kids, a fear of, or just a sense of being unsure of what action to take. And it might actually also make you worried that you don't have enough body confidence to teach them a new way. And this may be especially true if you live in a new country or a different culture to how you grew up, like the person who is asking this question. You might be an Irish person in Australia, for example, or maybe you're someone who was raised in a strict religious family who now lives in a place there you're not following that religion anymore. The country you live in doesn't follow that religion. So some cultures can really challenge how we're showing up in our parenting and in our family. And it's logical that this is a challenging time. It makes sense that you would feel all that, because parenting brings up so much hope for our kids. If you think about it, you might even have a wish list of what you want for them that you didn't have when you were small. And oftentimes there's a gap between what we want for them and the skills that we need to have to make those things happen for them. So in this episode, I'm going to show you how to work out if it's right to be naked in front of your kids, so that you can go from being under the influence of a silent connection breaker to actively building connection inside your evolved communicating family. Step number 1, learn to listen to your own nervous system. Now, what does that mean? We all have a nervous system. Our nervous system is designed to keep us alive and to keep us safe. So it will send us messages about whether where we are and what we're doing feels safe, or whether it feels dangerous, or whether it's putting our life under threat. So whether we feel comfortable being naked in front of our child or children is the first thing we have to have a think about. Nakedness is about how we feel, how we actually feel, not what our kids need. So let's think about this a little bit more. Yes, most of us would hope that our children will be more confident with their naked body than perhaps we grew up to feel. And at the same time, in this situation, when we're trying to work out, well, how much nakedness is the right amount of nakedness for our kids to see, that's actually a topsy-turvy way of seeing this situation. So rather than putting our kids first and what do they need to see in terms of nakedness, the counterintuitive first step is to put ourselves first. So, do you feel comfortable showering in front of your kids? Yes or no? And it doesn't matter what you think you should do, but do you feel comfortable doing that? And if the answer is no, then the answer is no. And that's exactly right. Because we don't want to be doing things for the sake of our kids that actually feel dangerous to us. Because kids' nervous systems can pick up on whether a parent or a guardian or another caring adult, if their nervous system feels comfortable with what's happening. And despite your best efforts, if you are showering in front of your kid because you feel like they need you to do that, but all the while your nervous system is telling you that it's wrong or dangerous, so you shouldn't be doing it, then your kid will somehow get the feeling, because nervous systems pick up on each other, they'll pick up that something's not quite right. And you'll probably be teaching them the opposite of what you're trying to do. You're trying to get them to feel comfortable with nakedness, but they'll probably pick up on the fact that, ooh, my parent does not feel comfortable in this situation. And they're not talking about it, so it all just feels weird, something's going on. The reality of it is, we can't keep everyone happy. We can't please everyone. We can't do something that works for everyone. And when we try and do that, someone pays the price. And that someone is usually us. Because we're doing things that don't feel right to us. So if it doesn't feel comfortable showering in front of your kids, then it doesn't feel comfortable. And that's exactly right. And you don't do it. Step number 2. Gender impacts on whether the world around us or the culture around us sends us messages that we're allowed to be naked in front of our kids. Let's unpack that a little bit. So gender is whether we feel like a woman or a man or a non-binary person or a trans person or whatever our gender is. Whatever our gender is, there will be unwritten rules related to our gender. So let's think about this more basically related to nakedness. So in the question that we've been asked, there's a mum and a dad. So the gender rules would say generally that mums would be more allowed to be naked in front of their kids than dads would be, for example. And that is purely around gendered messages to do with men that sort of say men are maybe less caring and maybe more dangerous or risky. Now, I'm not saying these messages are correct. I'm saying they're out there in the world, right? So have a think about how those gendered messages in your world could either prevent you from feeling comfortable being naked in front of your kids, or if you're a man or a masculine red gender, or the gender expectations might pressure you to be naked in front of your kids, particularly if you're a mother or some sort of feminine gender. And it's important that we notice that the world puts pressure on us for certain things, because we don't parent in a vacuum, do we? We've got community around us that can be sending us messages about what the right thing is to do. And those messages can subtly control our behavior, subtly control how confident we feel about our parenting decisions. Point number 3. What your kid needs for you when it comes to this whole nakedness thing is honesty. So how could it be possible to tell stories about how you were taught to be uncomfortable or embarrassed around being naked, for example? Now, we are not telling stories to shock our kids, but we're telling stories to explain to our kids that we all have different experiences in the world and we come from all different cultures. And if you grew up in a different culture, then these stories can be a really wonderful way to link your children back into the heritage that they come from. Another way to be honest is to state a boundary that you have around nakedness, for example. So this is not about shaming our kids, but it's about clearly stating what our needs are as parents. So a boundary could sound like if your kid is trying to come into the bathroom when you're showering and they're knocking on the door or trying to open the door, you could say something like, I try to keep my body private when I'm showering, so please don't come in until I'm dressed. Right? It's an I message. We're not saying you're doing the wrong thing. We're just stating something about ourselves. Or you could also say something like, lots of people are happy to be seen naked, but for me, it makes me feel uncomfortable. So a follow-up conversation could be that we all learn what's comfortable for us. You can talk to them about what you learnt about what's comfortable for you, and that they might learn something completely new and different to you. And that's exactly right. Kids get to learn things that might be very different to what their parents learnt. And that's really good, in fact. You could add in a little statement about how in your family we prioritize giving everyone space and time to work out the things that feel right for them and their body. And we celebrate when we work out that someone has worked out what's good for them that's different to someone else. The more variety and difference we have in our family, the more excited we can be. So we're actively championing, that's such a funny word, isn't it? We're actively championing our kids' ability to discover something different about them than we discovered for ourselves. So you've just learnt 3 points to help you work out if it's right to be naked in front of your kids, even if you are living in a more open and relaxed culture than where you grew up. But this information doesn't do you any good if you've worked out how your nervous system feels about this, but you want to change it. Inside the complete Evolved Family Method, you learn principles on how to nourish your nervous system and how to reprogram how it feels around things to do with sensitive stuff, nakedness, all that stuff. Because at the end of the day, we're here to do better, perhaps, than what our natural inclination might be or what we experienced growing up. So if you'd like to learn the complete Evolved Family Method that helps parents and other caring adults just like you to build deeper connections with growing kids while talking about really sensitive stuff, click the link somewhere around this episode, and the Evolve School is open right now. So it's exactly the right time to prioritize connection with your growing kids, even when you're talking about sensitive stuff like nakedness and sex. And that's sitting in a car for another week, where I've answered a question to help you raise your confident and caring young person who respects themselves and the people around them. Bye for now.